Victorian High Country. What a place, jam-packed with great four-wheel driving, amazing history, and some of the best views you'll ever get to see. This week on the show, Dave and I will be checking out the southern part of the Victorian High Country, including the stunning Pinnacles, historic Moroka Hut, and the notorious Billy Goat's Bluff Track. Starlo hits New South Wales's Lake Lyell in search of huge Australian bass, and Dave's got an adventure experience that will definitely get the adrenaline pumping.
Dave, I don't know about you, mate, but I'm pretty excited. I know we've been planning this trip for quite a while, and now that we're just about to drop into Jolla, top up the tanks and hit the hills.
I just can't wait, mate.
Oh, you're not wrong, mate. It's going to be a pretty epic trip. It's only a couple of days, but I think that's all you need to get a real glimpse of the high country. What are you looking forward to most?
For me, definitely the Pinnacles. That's the one that I've seen in all the magazines and all the mates have told me about it. And when I've been down this way in the past, I haven't actually got out there to check it out, so I can't wait to see it.
Mate, I can't wait to see your GQ get down Billy Goat's Bluff with those with the auto and your brakes.
No, mate, but you're going first, so she'll be right.
The first stop on our trip is the town of Jolla, which is often referred to as the southern gateway to the high country. Jolla has a population of around 20 people and is the only town in Victoria not attached to the power grid. Apart from stocking up on fuel and snacks, make sure you take the time to have a look at some of the amazing photos of Jolla through the years, as the community has dealt with everything from huge floods to destructive bushfires, and it still continues to thrive.
One of the great things about the Victorian High Country is the fact that it's relatively close to a lot of amenities, including fuel. Now you can find fuel at Dargo, Mansfield, Sale, and here in Jolla where we're topping up our tanks. It's a great idea to top up your tanks every time you come across a bowser. That way you can spend your time enjoying the tracks and not stressing about the fuel.
Oh, here we go, Rick. This looks like the dirt. It's time to head out. One of the things I like to do with my tyre pressures is adjust them regularly throughout the day, depending on the terrain that I'm driving. This is for two reasons. The first is it stops excessive heat building up in the tyre, which can severely shorten the life of the tyre. The second reason is that the correct pressures will allow me to get maximum traction and get a whole lot further up that hill than Rick will. Where we are here, we've probably got quite a few Ks of normal dirt road to go. So what we're going to start with is dropping our pressures from road pressures of about 40 PSI down to about 25. So next time you head off-road, take some time to experiment with your tyre pressures and find out just what works best for you.
We're on our way to meet one of Dave's mates, Drew, from Peak Out Tours. Drew is a wealth of knowledge on the high country and an all-round great bloke. Teeing up with a guide not only takes some of the stress away from navigating for yourself, but a good guide will also be able to fill you in on some of the amazing history of the area.
Drew, mate, how you doing?
Dave.
Good to see you.
Pleased to meet you.
This is Rick.
G'day, Rick.
How are you?
Good, mate, good.
It's nice and cold out here.
Yeah, she's dropped 20 degrees since this morning. Unbelievable up here.
Oh, it's awesome. But we've just seen some great sights just coming in, but I heard you got a heap more planned for us.
We have. Today, I'm going to take you up to the Pinnacles, where you have a 360-degree view.
Awesome.
So, and the cameraman in the crew here, you'll have an absolute ball up there.
We got some full driving, some good tracks.
Full driving, I'm going to take you down the infamous Billy Goat Bluff Track, which, you know, the four-wheel drive fraternity, it's just on their bucket list to do, so you'll have an absolute blast.
Is it on the bucket list for the guys that have V8 petrols with automatic transmissions, or is that on the non-bucket list?
A little bit of competition happening,
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a bit hairy in the old GQ, mate, but we'll give it a crack.
I think you'll be right. You'll have a blast.
Right.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, let's do it.
The high country's history is jam-packed with stories of true Aussie cattlemen, and this area was originally only accessible by foot or horseback. One of the best ways to really get a feel for what it was like in years gone by is to visit one of the many stockman huts dotted around the high country. You could literally spend weeks exploring them all, but Drew's decided to show us one of his favourites, Moroka Hut. Visitors are welcome to camp both inside and around Moroka Hut, and it's a favourite amongst cross-country skiers in the snow season.
Moroka Hut, it's been here since 1946. As you've seen in the walking, the grazing area around here is nice and flat. So the pioneering history of the cattlemen coming here with their cattle into the high country, building special places like this particular hut.
It really is a special place. The Kosciuszko Huts Association do a great job maintaining all of the huts of the high country, so they'll be around for generations to come.
Every now and then, it's great to get yourself outside your comfort zone and do something that really gets the adrenaline pumping. My comfort zone's behind the steering wheel of the Land Cruiser, cruising down a bush track in low range. Today, we've got something very different planned. Australian rally driver Cody Crocker is the most successful driver in the history of the Asia Pacific Rally Championships, after winning 4 consecutive titles. So Cody, what should we expect from a day out here at the rally school?
You can really expect to come along and enjoy driving a fast car in rally conditions on rally roads. It's soft and sandy in places, so it's a really good day out to enjoy the thrills and spills of rallying.
What kind of skills am I going to learn today that I can take away and use in my normal driving?
There's several things that you can learn here, and I think the greatest thing people take away is just understanding how a car works in varying conditions. And also another big thing is vision. People don't tend to look far enough ahead when they're driving, so we actually try and train people to actually look further ahead, and that gives you a much better sense of what's happening and being able to anticipate what's coming up on the road.
What are we driving today?
There's a range of cars we've got here. This particular car is the Subaru Impreza WRX STI, so it's the full sports version, and it's actually a rally car. So it's been built with a roll cage, suspension, harnesses, the race seats as well. So it's got everything in it there to do a rally, and in fact they actually do rallies in these cars. So we're not just talking a standard road car here, it's modified, ready to go on the rally roads.
After a comprehensive driver's briefing, it's finally time to hit the dirt. Yep, I reckon Cody's pretty impressed with my skills already. The key to going fast is often as simple as going slower. In an all-wheel drive car like this WRX, Cody explains that I need to get on the brakes to transfer the weight to the front of the car. By doing this, the front tyres grip up and I get some steering. Wow, mate, that is a serious rush. That is awesome fun. How'd it go?
That was really, really good. We're actually getting some good mid-corner speed there, and we're really sliding right through the corners. Who knows, I might be out of a job.
Really?
No.
As a part of your rally school experience, you'll be lucky enough to have the pants scared off you when your instructor gets behind the wheel to show you how it's really done in a flying hot lap at the end of your session. Well, let me tell you, this is not for the faint-hearted. There you have it. That is one awesome adventure-filled day. If you want to get out here and do that yourself, rallyschool.com.au, you've got to do it. Cody, on more, let's go.
G'day, I'm Mad Matt. Now I wanted to share with you a couple of tips I've picked up along the way of how to choose a great campsite. When you're choosing your campsite, if it looks like it's going to rain, consider where you set your tent up so that you're not in a watercourse. Be very wary of setting camp up in a riverbed, because if there was a flash flood, you'd go with it. Sometimes no matter how we try to choose the campsite, we're on a slope. I find if you put your head uphill, that's the most comfortable way to sleep. If you can get a good night's sleep, then you're going to have a great camping experience. When you're choosing your campsite, if it's a windy area, make sure you look up. Look for dead trees, dead branches, things that could come down and hit you or hurt you. Choose a spot where there's already an existing fireplace. Please use it. It makes a heap of a difference to the next campers. It saves us wrecking the campsites with lots and lots of fireplaces. Always look up, because what's up can come down, just like this branch has. Now, someone was camped in this area last night. I'm so glad they weren't hurt. Please consider campers that are already in the campsite. They've set up a place that's theirs, it's private. They've got it set up the way they'd like to do it. It's really rude, in my opinion, to come in and camp on top of them. Make sure there's plenty of space between your camp and theirs. That's just a good rule of bush etiquette. So there's some simple tips that are going to help you have a great camping experience. Whether it's windy, sunshine, raining, and you're going to make some great friends because you're not upsetting the other campers. So I'm Mad Matt. Stay safe on the trails.
So after a quick feed, it was time to head to the Pinnacles. Now this is one place I was very excited to see. One of my passions is taking great photos, and when I heard that the Pinnacles offered 360-degree views of the entire high country, I knew it was somewhere I had to go. It's about a 10-minute walk from the parking lot to the fire tower, and there are a few stairs. However, the effort is most definitely worth it, with some of the most breathtaking views I have ever seen, and a glimpse of what was to come over the next few days of our high country adventure.
Well, here we are at the Pinnacles. Now this is an amazing view. We've got 360-degree views all the way around us here. Behind me here you'll see the fire tower. During storms, big storms, there'll be a guy that sits up here and looks out over the whole area for bushfires. So it's a great way to watch any of those lightning strikes and get onto those fires before anything major happens.
After a few happy snaps, it was time to get back into the four-wheel drives and get ready for our first four-wheel drive challenge.
Billy Goat Bluff, one of the infamous tracks in the high country.
I don't know about you, Dave. I've enjoyed seeing the sights and checking out things like the Pinnacles and all that sort of thing. But I'll tell you what, mate, this is what I came for.
You're not wrong, mate. It's about time to give these trucks a real challenge.
Now this track is not maintained by Vic Parks or DSE. It is an ungraded track and it can change with conditions.
Right, here we go. Oh, look at that.
What an incredible view.
We're now sitting at over 1,000 metres above sea level, and tonight's camp is deep down in the valleys, which mean there's plenty of seriously steep terrain ahead. We'd better get into it.
This next bit is going to be interesting.
Take a look at those drop-offs. Make one mistake here and you can be in all sorts of strife. I have to say, I've driven some pretty steep tracks, but this has got to be seriously close to the steepest. Just seeing the big drop-offs on each side is enough to get even the most seasoned four-wheel drivers blood pumping.
Now this is the stuff we live for. Big washaways, steep terrain. This is exactly what you want in a high country adventure.
Dave's towing the Brick Z camper down here, and although it has electric brakes, controlling a trailer takes a lot of effort, and you need to be constantly keeping an eye on what's happening both in front and behind.
How are those brakes of yours holding up, mate?
Yeah, so far so good, mate. We'll see how we go by the time we're halfway down.
This is just awesome terrain, isn't it, Rick? Just look at those mountains. It's just awesome.
As good as it gets in the high country, mate. As good as it gets. Well, I guess the red hot tip if you're driving an automatic four-wheel drive like mine down this very, very steep terrain is to stay off the brakes for as long as you can and use the gearing to your advantage. So that means by selecting low range and then first gear and locking it in nice and tight, it's going to give you the best chance of staying in control of the vehicle.
Another quick trick is if you have lockers in your vehicle, engage your rear locker. So I'm just checking out my trailer at the back. Engage your rear locker. What this will do is it won't let your vehicle, won't let the rear wheels slip differently to each other, and it'll keep the rear of your vehicle in line. That's very, very important, especially on narrow tracks like this. So it's just a couple of quick tips to make descending in serious terrain a whole lot easier. Rick, we're getting towards the bottom now. That is one epic climb down the side of a mountain.
Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. She's definitely steep down at this end, but I've got to tell you, I'm pretty happy with the old bus. It's done well.
Well, I still have an intact trailer behind me, so from that, your brakes have obviously held out well.
Yeah, look, mate, I think anyone with a reasonably well-prepared vehicle could tackle this track. As Drew said before, it's not really all about the lift and, you know, all those other mods, just a decent set of tyres and you could probably give this one a crack.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, I'll be back to try this the other direction.
Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. Count me in for that one.
Drew had a great little campsite teed up for us tonight, and although we ended up arriving after dark, you could just tell it was something special. All that's left to do now is roll out the swag, set up the rooftop tent and sit back for a nice cold one around the fire. This has got to be one of the best bits of any high country adventure.
I'm on Lake Lyell near Lithgow, just west of the Blue Mountains in New South Wales. And for many years, this lake was quite well known as a trout fishery. It produces some good browns and rainbows. It's also got plenty of yabbies in it if you want to come out here and set some traps and catch a feed of yabbies. But for the last decade or so, they've been stocking it with Australian bass. And it was a little slow to get started, but the bass are starting to come online now, and they're producing some absolute whoppers out of here. Some of the biggest, fattest bass I've ever seen. I've never caught one out of here. I'm going to go looking for them today. I'm going to chuck some spinnerbaits around the timber. We're still quite early in the season. The water's a bit cold for my liking. And as I said, the density of fish in here is not that high, but we'll see if we can find one of these whopper Lake Lyell bass to show you. These things are like footballs with fins. Yep. Oh, pesky. Well, it took a while, but changes of lures and changes of location, and we finally found one of Lake Lyell's lovely brown trout and got it to actually stick. I've had quite a few follows and strikes from these fish. This is the first one I've been able to pin firmly. Gee, they're a beautiful fish. He's in immaculate condition. He's a lot smaller than some of the ones that I was getting follows from before. Ah! But, whoa, 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 settle down, matey. That's a lovely chunky brown trout from Lake Lyell on a little hard-bodied lure. I gave up on the bass in the end and just decided to go with trout tackle, so I scaled right down. You can see the waves coming through here. We've got the skiers and the wakeboarders going past. It's a popular spot. We're up and down. But you know what? I think that wave action against the shoreline, stirring up the silt, might actually be displacing some yabbies and shrimps and attracting the trout in around the edges. It's the middle of the day, and he's absolutely walloped that. I'm going to keep that one. Success at last at Lake Lyell. Oh, this feels like a better fish than the first one. Beautiful fish. Grab him. He's pretty tired after that crash dive. Oh, mate. You really want to check out Lake Lyell. It's a bit of an unknown jewel. Plenty of skiers and wakeboarders come here, but not so many fishermen. And they're great trout like this and beautiful big Australian bass. Check it out on our Facebook page. Here's the details.
Next week on the show, Dave gets his feet wet.
That is not like a spar at all.
Before the boys take us on one of the high country's most breathtaking challenges.
Have you got the right foot shake going on yet?
None of that. None of that. It's just Steve. Go the yeah! And then it's time for a beer at one of Australia's most iconic pubs. Also on next week's show, the Starlings take a look at some stealthy fishing tactics. And don't forget, for more content, head to offroadadventureshow.com.au and don't forget to check us out on Facebook.